Jackie, do you remember that moment when you woke up after transplant for the first time?
Yeah, obviously you're ventilated, so you can't talk or anything. But I remember like waking up and just being so thankful that I had woke up. Like one of my biggest fears going into transplant, because my lungs were so unwell, was that I wouldn't wake up from the surgery.
Yeah.
Um, and I'd heard a few stories like that where people had gone in and, had a stroke or something
Mm.
had happened and they actually didn't wake up from the surgery. So that was one of my biggest fears. So when I woke up, I was just so relieved that like I had made it and that I'd survived the surgery. And here we were on the
Yeah.
other side of it. That was the scariest part for me. And then I just was sort of actioning to the nurses that like I wanted to see my husband.
Yeah.
I think I was touching my like wedding ring finger.
Yeah.
And so he came in, and my dad, I think. And yeah, I was just so happy to see them. And I remember another transplant patient had said to me, when you wake up, it's really overwhelming because there's so many cords and
Mm.
machines and you've got the ventilator in, so you can't talk and it's really uncomfortable. And he just had said, make sure that you just stay calm, or if you're heightened, they'll sedate you again.
Right.
So I just remember being like, all right, like I'm calm, I can do this, it's okay. And I'm a little bit claustrophobic, so I'd been worried about like feeling claustrophobic from everything. But I just remember trying to feel really calm and just like be awake and be okay with it all and just
Yeah.
go with it. And I think him had saying that really prepared me for waking up and being in that moment and staying calm.
Yeah.
It was a really good piece of advice, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's interesting because I don't have as clear a memory. I just remember being out of it, like just like a space cadet. I remember
yeah,
glimpses of ICU.
yeah.
I don't really remember that much. I remember like waving the little suction wand around, pointing that at people. But till I got up onto the ward to the acute beds on the ward, that's sort of when I started really, the cognitive
Right.
recognition. But tell me, what was the feeling like with your lungs?
So people always say, like, what was it like taking your first breaths and that sort of thing. But in that moment, like you're ventilated and you've got high flow oxygen and there's so much going on that you're not really taking it in. It
Mm.
wasn't until a few days later, and then the high flow oxygen goes and then you get oxygen, just normal oxygen again. So it wasn't until a few days later when the my actual oxygen got removed, and they were sort of my first breaths without oxygen in like 18 months.
Yeah,
And that was a
wow.
really emotional moment. My mum and my sister were there, and my sister filmed it.
Yeah,
And I just was chatting away, and the nurse said, like, oh, your oxygen's been off for 15 minutes now. And I was
wow.
just like, started bawling because I was talking so easily without being short of breath, and
Yeah.
I wasn't coughing. And yeah, it was just like, it was such a magic moment. And I
Well,
haven't needed oxygen again since then, which is just like amazing.
and I know that exact feeling, like different for me, obviously being heart transplant, but my moment was I felt really hot. Like I was, I'm only in a tea, like I'm absolutely cooking in here, but the aircon's on
Yeah.
and just sweating and I just felt really warm and it was just blood, a new
Oh,
heart pumping blood around my body.
wow. Yeah.
And I hadn't been that warm in, a few years. And my body's,
Yeah.
I had a throbbing headache because my brain had gotten used to running on low oxygen. So yeah,
Yeah.
similar sort of thing. But for me, it was
Yeah.
just I just felt alive again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those
Wow. So
moments are just like phenomenal.
yeah.
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 And I feel like you never forget those moments. Like, and I
No.
think, like you said, you forget all the bad stuff, but you remember those like pivotal, amazing moments.